Hello and welcome to the Startups of London podcast. I'm your host Ozan, and today on this hot British summer Friday, we have Lorna Wilson, founder of Mnched, on the show. Mnched allows you to take your own cutlery with you. Now that's interesting. Welcome, Lorna.
Hi, thank you very much for having me.
So what is the idea here? Are you approaching the need from a hygiene angle or an outdoor travel life quality angle?
It's everything. If I could just start a bit with how I came up with the idea originally, and
of course,
my journey's progressed from there. So when the pandemic hit, my work announced that they were getting rid of all cutlery from the office. So I started to look online for my own portable cutlery set. And I didn't find anything that I felt was actually that practical or better really than just bringing your own cutlery from home, like wrapped up in a bag. But that didn't seem a great option either. So I was looking around. There was options like wrapped in cloth, which didn't seem very hygienic, because often when you are eating on the go, you don't have that option to wash up. Or they were just really small, and it felt like when you're in the office, you don't need something really small. You want something nice to eat your lunch with, or wherever you are really. You want a really good quality thing. You might be going to a farmer's market and you're spending £8 on a food, and then you're going to eat it with bamboo cutlery. It's not a great alternative. So I thought there just had to be something better. And I started to think about how sort of 5-10 years ago, no one had a water bottle. And actually, they've now become something that we carry around every day as an accessory. So actually, I came up with an idea that there could be really high quality cutlery that also looks really good, but it also had to be in a fully washable case so that you could just put it back in once you're done with it and carry on with your day.
I think I've experienced, like a lot of other people, the dread of having a broken plastic fork while I'm trying to enjoy my food. It really is not a good experience. So definitely it adds to the quality of life. And there are different reasons for why people would buy this, I guess. With the pandemic, we want to be more hygienic. We want to be more environmentally friendly, so less plastic waste. So I see this is interesting from a lot of different angles, actually. So I know your background is in shopper marketing and that you've always wanted to start your own business. So my question, I guess, is, in my experience, market size is hugely important when it comes to success in the startup world. So with this business, the cutlery market, the total market here is huge. Everybody has some. But what about the specific market demand for this? How did you validate?
That's a really good question. So when I had the idea, I then went and did I put out a questionnaire, and I had about 200 friends and family or people who passed it on answer that questionnaire to recognise if there was actually a need for that product and what people would be using that product for. Because I think you can have an idea and think it's great, but you really need to validate that with people and see where the need is. Because you're right, in principle, there is an absolutely massive market for it. But I needed to understand deeper below that, what actually would people be using it for? What are the reasons they didn't bring it at the moment? What would they want from the product? And then taking all that information and that data, that's where I really saw that there was a market need from. Particularly, I've noticed that it was over-indexing in kind of that 40 plus category. So while I've been launching that in my awareness phase, that's actually been, and it's in female as well, a niche that I've kind of been focusing on to bring that age group through the funnel. But I took all that knowledge and used that in the development of the product itself. And it was really important to people that they had a really high quality product. It felt as good as the quality cutlery that they were going to be eating with at home, but also interesting things came out. I was thinking of putting a teaspoon in the set, but actually people really wanted straws in the set,
Ah,
so that for their smoothie or their coffee, and that would never have been something that I would have done without putting that survey out there. And they also wanted it to be like fun and potentially like customizable. So I needed to make sure that that's where the handles came in. So I can now launch loads of different colours of handles so that people can fit it to their lifestyle or their favourite colour.
I really like this. Have you tried the bottoms up SEO approach in terms of understanding the size of the market? I know it's being used successfully by some entrepreneurs. It's a tactic I have not really used, but I see the merit of it. I hear the merit of it. So as a reminder to other entrepreneurs out there, sometimes top-down market segmentation, your TAM, SAM, SOM, those kind of things, they make sense. But also looking at the search engine results and what kind of a traffic for different stuff out there has, it makes sense. So have you had a chance to do it for this instance, for Mnched, Lorna?
So originally I thought I was going to launch it through the Amazon FBA program. So I actually did look a little bit about the numbers behind Amazon and how many people were buying the product on there. Not so much, I guess, from an overall SEO point of view. I didn't look at that. I have looked at the numbers on how many people are searching for portable cutlery, travel cutlery, reusable cutlery, and each of those are indexing around 10,000 searches a month. But I also think it's kind of as a category, it's something that people haven't almost realized they need yet. And once they do get it, they love having it in their bag. But it's a bit like I said this before with the water bottle.
Yeah.
10 years ago, 5 years ago, we didn't even think we needed like a chili or a swell water bottle. But now it's something that we just carry in our bag as an everyday, and we kind of couldn't live without it.
So what does the ideal persona for you look like? I think you mentioned they are a tad over age 40. Is that the case? I don't know. So how would you define the persona in terms of age, other demographics, their lifestyle habits? Have you gone into that?
Yeah, I have gone into that. I think there is a market for everyone, but the market that I think that people see the biggest need for the product, and I think it might partly be from a hygiene point of view that people are very worried about, like using communal cutlery at work, is that over 40 category, and females in particular. I think that's the one that we're over-indexing in at the moment. They see the need for quality cutlery. They really buy into that quality of it. They see the convenience, having it in their bag. Also, quite a lot of mums find it very useful as well, whether they're using it for themselves or whether when you're on the go. I don't know if you've got kids at all, but quite often you do need to cut up something, and
Yeah.
yeah, it's just really, really useful when you're out and about, to be honest, and in the office. And there's also that kind of glamping, camping market that's been huge since the pandemic, particularly with people not going abroad. So I think there's a few different markets. The one I definitely haven't tapped into yet, which I would love to, is kind of the under 30s, and I need to, I think, find what that killer insight is and what the pinch point would be to why would they buy into this product, because I think it's something that they would definitely use. I know that category visits, there are quite a lot of foodies out there, so I'm sure they would want to be using this when they're going to local food markets, out and about with their friends at weekends. But I don't think I've attracted that audience in yet.
I do agree with that. It's potentially very interesting. The persona defines also the marketing channel in a way. So what do you think will be your biggest marketing or customer acquisition channel?
At the moment, I'm focusing on Facebook and Instagram ads, and the way we can target people quite specifically. I definitely need to work on my SEO as well, but that's in the pipeline, as well as our CRM, because that's a massive channel to keep communicating to your existing audience.
Indeed.
I think in terms of bringing a younger audience in, that's will be through like owned Instagram channels. And I'm also working on a PR campaign as well to build that awareness and try and get into some of the Christmas gift guides, which again will, I think, help reach a number of different demographics. And we have been confirmed for a couple of those, which is really exciting.
So can you tell me about your production process and pipeline? Because something like this, there is the back end and it can get messy. There's the distribution, quality control, a lot of things. So how do you manage that? Where are they produced or where are they designed? I think it's very useful information for other people interested in building businesses like these.
Yes, production has definitely been a challenge because I don't have a background in production. So I actually did do a project within my main job where my boss, it was to help an oil company show the difference between different grades of engine oils. And my boss at the time basically went home and built a set of tools in his shed to then brought them in on Monday, sold it into the client, and then we had to spend the next like year and a half going through that manufacturing process. So I had a bit of an idea on the process that you needed to go through to take a product from like an idea into final production from that. So I knew that I had like a vision of what I wanted, but I needed to find a product designer who could help me bring that vision to life and
It's a puzzle with
design
a
a
lot of
product
pieces. It's not very simple. So
no,
how did you find a designer?
I actually used Upwork, and I think there's a number of good places that you can go now to find freelancers with the skills that you're looking for. And I did find out later that one of my friends' boyfriends was actually a product designer, which would have been very helpful. But anyway, I worked with someone on Upwork and they then helped me. They recommended a factory, and this was to design the box itself. So we designed the box, then they helped me find a factory who could help produce it. I did not realize how much it would cost to get your own bespoke molds made. So that was a bit of a shock as well.
How much was that, if you don't mind me asking?
To get molds made, and I think I got them produced in China, and it's a lot more in the UK. These ones were £12,000, so it's quite a big upfront cost to have to put in the business before you've really been able to test the idea. And I had to go on all that research that I'd done before to say, no, I really think this idea is going to work. And
so that's the thing, isn't it? If the business, if the idea is going to work, it's a very reasonable amount of capital expenditure for something like this. But just for the sake of trying it out, it's just a lot of money to burn.
Exactly. But I've listened to quite a lot of podcasts and I've heard about founders putting in a lot more money than that at the same time. So it was money that I was prepared to lose, I guess. I've put in £25,000 in total into the business of my own money. And that's obviously, you don't know if the business is going to succeed. So that's money that I've got to be willing to lose.
Yeah. It shows your belief in the business as well. And honestly, for some type of businesses, especially digital businesses, the startup cost can be very insignificant, but it also means there is a lot more competition because a lot of people all around the world are trying to do the same thing. In your case, the competition is lower because there is some as with anything physical, there is more upfront capital cost.
Exactly. And I don't think people can go and launch portable cutlery. There's things on the market that you can just buy and white label. But I wanted to create a product that actually was designed properly and solved a real need. So things that were important to me were like the cutlery being able to clip into that box. And that turned into being one of my manufacturing nightmares because we had massive issues with the mold and getting those clips to work properly. And I wasn't really sure how to overcome those issues, but we did get around it. Got the
invisible difficulties of being a founder. People just hear about the glory, but in reality, you think about very small problems and you obsess over them. It's very difficult. I feel you.
Absolutely. And then on the other side, I had to find a manufacturer for the cutlery. So for the cutlery itself, I didn't get bespoke molds made, but what I did do is design all the handles on them. That's where that kind of customization comes in. So you won't find our handles anywhere else. And that was really important to me to work on the quality, how they felt in the hand. So there was a lot of testing different things, weights, asking people to try different things, eat with them. How did it taste, feel when they're having food? So I did a lot of testing as well to get to the final product.
I'm just heading over to Mnched.com. It is Mnched for you out there.com. And I might buy one of these. I think I like the white marble one or the gray marble. And you have some beautiful designs. And I'm sold on the idea, honestly. When I first saw it, I thought to myself, is this really necessary? But the more I think about it, the more it makes sense, actually, Lorna. Because why not? It increases. If I had 2 sets of these when I'm going to picnic with my wife or with friends, it's fun. It's also environmentally friendly, and that brings us to price. So how did you decide the right price point? Because that's the final decision. Where does this sit in terms of price? I think it was £27, the box. Am I right?
Yes, so it's £27. So I guess there are some competitors in the market. They don't offer exactly the same thing as them, but I guess there's some people who are at kind of the £7 mark, which you're looking at Amazon, which are just kind of not, I would say probably not very exciting, not great quality, but they kind of get the job done. There's someone who's a close, not, I wouldn't say a very close competitor, but so they, you have to like screw their cutlery together every time you use it, which just seems a bit of a faff. And they were priced at £30. And I really see this as an item a bit like your water bottle. So Chili's, they're charging sort of £30 for the water bottle, and I've then got to look at the obviously when you're building the cost, you've got to see how much every individual item is also costing you. So thinking about what competitors in the market are doing, and people are offering a straw. Just for a straw itself, I think people are having to pay like between £7 and £10, and then keeping into account the cost of everything for me. And also something to think about is you've got to price yourself if you want to go into retail. So obviously when people come direct to me, I'm going to make more profit from that. But in an ideal scenario, I want to be going into like M&S or a Waitrose or John Lewis, and they're going to need to make profit from it as well. So I had to keep in mind what's going to be my margin, but also if I'm going to wholesalers or retailers, what is there going to be the right margin in the price for them as well. And I think some entrepreneurs actually fall down by not getting their price right at the beginning and not considering all of those things. Also, you've got to take into account when you have to pay VAT. At the moment, I haven't quite reached that threshold, so again, I'm not having to pay it, but as soon as I have to pay VAT, that's going to affect the profit margin on it as well.
So will we be able to find this on Amazon as well, or do you plan to stay out of it?
I'm undecided on that at the moment. I'm not sure I will in the UK, but I think it might be a good distribution channel if I was to go into other markets. So I'm undecided whether that's the right way, because people on Amazon are very, very driven by price.
Indeed, yeah.
It's harder unless you've got that big brand awareness. I think it's harder to justify that price to people on Amazon from them just looking at the product page. So it's probably one for the future, but I'm not sure that I will. Yeah. I would go on.
It's a difficult question. It's a difficult question, and not one to be answered right now. But it's certainly interesting because there's huge volume of traffic flowing through there, including me, and a lot of people.
Me too.
So, how many units have you sold so far?
I've sold, I think, 700 at last count.
That's
it's
good.
been,
Not so bad.
So I feel like we've been trading for about 6 months now. So I feel like 700 in the first 6 months is pretty good. We're leading into Christmas. I only actually bought initially 1,200.
Because you have not optimized the business in terms of the channels, your marketing budget, the price, and it's gonna go up from here, I presume.
Yes, I hope so. It's going to go up from here. So I really haven't put that much into marketing at the moment. I'm starting to do that more, but that's really just through awareness. I also had a few quite big companies send it out to their employees when they were going back into the office as like a recommendation for their employees to buy. So I think that helped with some of the sales as well. And also I've ran a bit of an influencer campaign, which again has helped bring in some of those sales.
It's something we've considered, but not yet done, the influencer campaigns, both with Startups of London and other businesses as well. But with some products, especially on channels like Instagram, it works better with some products and with some channels than others. Especially with something like this, I think it makes absolute sense to focus on something like that. So kudos on that. A question I have, and this is, I think, another decision point. Would you plan to be a customer-funded type of a business versus a funded one? So are you seeking funding? Perhaps you have had funding other than your personal investment in this. So what's the story there?
So currently it's all self-funded. I've not had any funding put into the business at the moment. I've got a very clear idea on the things that where I'm looking to take the business in the next year and the products that I'm looking to launch within it. And to do that, I think there might be a need to fund. Ideally, I would keep this within kind of friends and family angel investment.
Yeah.
But you never know what, it depends. I haven't worked out quite the level of investment that I need at this stage. I don't think it's going to be absolutely huge. So I've put £25,000 into the business. I think I might need another £25,000 I'm going to launch a kind of new range probably in start of Q2 next year. So I might need another kind of 25,000 to really launch that.
Mm-hmm.
But I at the moment, I don't think I'm needing like a sort of £200,000 investment into the business.
I'm sure you're going to make the right decision with this. I have no doubt. Just my 2 cents on this. Some type of businesses, talking to a lot of startups and having experienced my own, if there is huge potential on how big that business can be, despite the probability of that being small, it will get good investment because they like to play for those outsiders. On the other hand, if a business is more likely to succeed, so higher probability of success, but the potential absolute biggest market size they can reach is not that crazy, then it doesn't seem to work with funding very well. It works, I think, better with being customer funded, friends and family support, and it sits in a very, very profitable place into that mix. It might buy you a house or two, but it's not just the incredible $1 billion valuation type of a business. So I think both are fine, and it makes a lot of sense to know which one a business is, and it all depends on the market size. So that's my 2 cents on it, if you're curious.
No, that's really interesting. It's got me thinking now. What route should I be? Am I thinking the right route? It's something I'm working on at the moment. My dad's actually a finance director, so
that's handy,
and he knows how to get funding. So actually, it's great to have him, and he will be able to help on all of that side of things.
I think there are a lot of very brilliant bits with this business, and there's this graph stuck in my head when it comes to founders with good ideas, and I think you fall onto that as well, and it's kind of like a graph where the marketing experience a founder has proportionally increases the amount of good ideas they can have, and I think this is because real marketers understand what will sell better than most other people in other lines of business. And I think this is a possible winner. So have you had any other ideas or attempts before? Was there a contender to Mnched at any stage?
Had I had any other business ideas before?
Yeah, is this the first one, or had you?
No, I've literally had business ideas my whole life. So when I was like 18, I thought I was going to launch a beauty business around personalized mascara. Probably not a problem that you come up with, but I always really struggled to find the right mascara for me. Obviously didn't launch that one, but it's always been I've always had these ideas, and I knew that I needed to take one forward. And when I had my son 3 years ago, that's when I was like, I'm really going to start to push all these ideas that I have forward. And there was one I was going to launch around the children's market that is still an absolutely brilliant idea, but I'm going to bring it under the umbrella of Mnched, and I will be, I guess, doing a sub brand which will be Mnched Mini with a children's range. So
Very much looking forward to the Mnched mini version as well.
Yeah, I think there's actually almost a bigger market there, maybe. But let's see. There's lots of different things that I could do. But it's the first business that I've actually got off the ground and done anything with.
I mean, honestly, I say this for any guest we have, but I feel invested into the business because I do care so much about it. I start to think about the business, and there was this company Feasted. It was one of the startups that we featured, I think, a year and a half ago, and I saw the tote bag they had, and I was like asking to my wife, "Where did you get this bag from? How are they doing? I wish they are successful. I wish that things are going well." So I feel personally invested in every business that we interview in London and the UK. So, and I wish that same thing for you. And as a final question to close things up, so what do you think might be the biggest obstacle you need to overcome in the next year to really grow this product?
I think it is just growing the awareness and getting as many people to know about the product, realize why it would make a massive difference in their life, and get as many people kind of into that. I call it a very marketing term, I guess, but the top end of that funnel,
Yeah.
and then kind of work them through to purchase. So that's, I think that will, can I give two actually? That's one big part of it.
Yes.
I still think the other part is kind of logistics, kind of operational logistics thing. Because at the moment,
excellency in terms of the back end, may perhaps.
Yeah, the back end fulfillment, because I really want to make the product customizable so people can choose. At the moment it just comes in one color box, but I want to be able to offer people different kind of, so they can choose a box and a different color of cutlery so they can really mix and match for them. But actually I need to figure out a way of doing that logistically, because getting bespoke boxes made to fit everything in is extremely expensive. We're talking, investigating at the moment, and probably I'm not thinking about ordering enough numbers, is about £6 just for a box, which would mean that I could put like the coloured cutlery in, and then fulfillment could quickly put a different colour box in there. But that's a huge amount into the profit of the product itself. So I need to figure out, how can I make it as customizable as possible, but still profitable for the business?
A lot of very interesting questions, potentially very profitable for you as well. And it's also good for the customers. And yeah, I think it was a pleasure. Thank you for joining in, taking the time. This was Lorna from Mnched, and I hope you enjoyed this episode. So you'll see you in the next one. Take care.